Welcome back. Quick reminder, tomorrow morning, 9:30, Graham Norton's on air, back on Virgin Radio. Harry Hill is his special guest. He's going to be talking about his musical. It's based on the life of former Prime Minister Tony Blair. You can download the app. You can go to virginradio.co.uk or listen on DAB. Now, I am so excited for this next interview. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm such a child. Now, imagine this. Underwater for 100 days. Somebody, was it Peter Cardwell said? I hope he's holding his breath. But listen, my next guest spent 27 years in the Navy, then studied biomedical engineering, specializing in traumatic brain injuries. In September 2021, he suffered one himself when a car struck the side of his pickup truck as he drove home from the gym. He was knocked unconscious. He had a stroke. He ended up in intensive care. He spent a week in hospital. Now, the result of that, the recovery was difficult, anxiety, struggle with fear, suicidal thoughts. About a month and a half after the exercise, though, he adopted a regimen that essentially involved lots of treatments at once: hyperbaric oxygen therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, and physical treatment. Let's look at the first one of those that I said, hyperbaric oxygen therapy. That's where, well, I'll let him tell you that. I am now going to cross live to Florida under the sea. Under the sea. My next guest, Dr. Joseph Jaturi, is under the sea. Joseph, I was so excited to talk to you. Oh my God, you're on day 18 of 100 and you will break the record there. So I don't know if for those watching, you're kind of, where are you? Tell us how deep you are and what is this I'm seeing behind you?
So I'm submerged 22 feet beneath the lagoon right now. And this right here is my view. That's the view that I get to see every morning. I get to look out there and see my friend that's the lobster down there. His name's Fred. There's a family of lobsters across the way, you know. So
can you show us? Can you show us your living conditions? Is it teeny tiny?
Absolutely. It's not teeny tiny, but this is my laboratory and kitchen all in one.
Right. Wow.
And then every good hotel has to have a pool. So I have a pool right here.
Get out. Where?
Yeah. Yeah. Who doesn't have a pool in their hotel?
Oh, he has. He has. For those people who are listening rather than not watching, it's like a really big caravan, what we call a trailer home.
Yeah.
So
that it's what's called a moon pool, and that's how you get in and out. And then every place has to have a potty because you have to go
loo, yeah,
now and again.
Bog, Kazi,
and then a basic shower, same thing.
Wow.
Right? And then teeny tiny bedroom.
Oh, there it is, and he hasn't made the bed, so we took. Oh, it's a bunk bed. This is actually a hotel, apparently. This is a hotel, and for I just want to add in here, Joe, if I can call you that. I just want to add in here because I know my husband's watching this show. This is a hotel. This is not a hotel I wish to stay in. Now, why are you trying to stay here? You know, you said you've got equipment and you're doing testing, I believe, on yourself very, very regularly. What is this all in aid of?
So in 2012, I got a call from James Cameron's people after he went to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. And they said, hey, we need you to look at the submersible that we have. Can you come out here? And I was like, sure, I'll come out there. So I went out there. This is after I retired.
Let me just tell people, James Cameron, he's the person behind the all of those movies. Oh my God, Kate Winslet's in the latest ones, isn't he?
Oh, quite, yeah. Titanic, Avatar. Yeah, he's a madman. He's terrific. So yeah. So I went to look at the submersible and I found the intrinsic value of the submersible is pretty significant. So he was looking at recovering things from the bottom of the Marianas Trench. He finally recovered a sea lice. Now, sea lice in general are usually teeny tiny nitinoid things, and they just bother you.
Yeah.
Well, what this sea lice was 14 inches long,
Oh, hello.
and he recovered it, and we pulled the DNA sample off it. When they did, it was a partial cure for Alzheimer's. And on
Oh,
December 24th of 2012, I came to the startling conclusion that everything we need is on this planet. Everything. We
yeah.
just have to go find it. The disease is here. The cure is here. We know. So we just got to look in the right spot. So
So
that's why
why
I
is the
said
right
I got
spot?
to live underwater.
So yeah, I was going to say, Joe, why is the right spot for you under the water? This has got something to do with longevity, I understand. Although I would be very short-lived in your present where you are now.
It does.
But what is what you're doing got to do with longevity? Explain that for us.
Right. So when you go in a hyperbaric condition, more pressure, right? When you're in this hyperbaric condition, you can extend the length of your telomeres. And the telomeres are these little ends on your chromosome, which go away when you reproduce the chromosome. So when that goes away, when it's totally gone and there's no more telomere left, you cannot reproduce it and you die, right?
Right.
So that's real true aging.
Yeah.
These are extended when you're in hyperbaric conditions. We're trying to find out how much when you're at this pressure. So we'll see after 100 days, we'll see what my telomeres are like. Additionally, we get stem cells when we're down here, and we know for sure that stem cells are increased. So anywhere from 200 to 800 times the number of stem cells, we'll see. So
Oh, and you've got people coming down to talk to you like psychologists. Now, why does I know they use that little hotel for the astronauts to look at what the effects of isolation are? I mean, a lot of people found that out during lockdown, I've got to say. Scientists should have been there then. But you've got when the psychologist comes down, what they can talk to you through that window behind you, or how do they communicate with you?
well, they come in through the pool and
Ah,
they dry off and shower off, and then we sit and have a conversation. And I'm under the care of psychologists and psychiatrists, and I've done every psychological and psychosocial test known to the United States prior to my entry in here. I mean, I'm a researcher. This is the kind of stuff that I
right,
do, right? So we want to see what my psychological condition was before, then expose me to an isolated, confined, extreme environment, such as underwater for 100 days, and
right.
then check up on me and see how we're doing the entire way. So when it all comes out, we'll know. Remember, the closest home and transfer window that we have right now to get from here to Mars is 6 months. That's the
Right,
closest. So
right.
we're going to go in a tin can just like this for 6 months, twice the amount of time that I'm staying here. And we got to figure some stuff out beforehand. What's going to happen to the human body? What does your vision do when you only have the ability to look in short distances? Your eyes are
Yeah.
extremely compensating, so you can compensate and maybe get lesser vision. We'll see. Bone density loss. We're doing studies for NASA that involve these resistance band technologies, right? So
Yeah.
that's what they use on the International Space Station to maintain muscle mass, because you have to do that
Oh,
when you
and
have to,
but
right?
you've not had any loss. Are you expecting loss of muscle mass, or do you work out when you're down there as well?
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm testing these bands and I'm testing these new technologies to increase something called nitric oxide synthase, which is a smooth muscle mediator. So we're doing measurements and technique. Yeah, and we measured my biceps, triceps, chest, abdomen, legs. We want to make sure that we can continue to grow muscle mass and also continue to increase bone density, because the astronauts really have
Yeah,
a problem with that. So
yeah, they
we're
do.
trying to solve the problems of space. So there's like 10 different missions wrapping this thing up.
All in one. But can you go outside? I mean, do you go for a walk, aka you swim outside?
Yeah. Yeah. So I go and I clean the window frequently. I go and I visit my lobster friend down there. You have to get out every once in a while. So the rules are, as long as you are under pressure the entire time, you're okay. You can still
Oh,
have the record. And mind you, the record means nothing, because if the record meant something to me, current record, here's the world record right there. It's 73 days, 2 hours, something minutes.
right. So if you
Why am I
go over,
staying to 100?
yeah,
Why am I not
exactly.
staying to 74 days? because I don't want to break a record. I want to live underwater. I want to get kids interested in living in the marine environment so that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, some kid that I high fived right in this window right here says, I want to live underwater for 200 days. I want to live underwater for an entire year. And maybe we'll do some science.
Wow, because you do actually do lessons from there for kids as well. One of my producers is. I would not think of this story. I would not think of this question because I don't really care. How much is it going to cost for 100 days? Oh, maybe one of my producers wants to go there for 100 days. Maybe we could sponsor him or her. But is it expensive? Yeah, happily.
Just tell me
Is
it's
it
my twin
expensive?
sister. Is it my
Sorry?
twin sister that's coming? Oh, if it's my twin sister, she can come, but that's okay. So it's about $120,000 to do this, and it's sponsored by Marine Lab, which is the nonprofit corporation here, and the International Board of Undersea Medicine, which is a private company that's trying to learn about the underwater environment. They're really pretty progressive. It's cool.
Now, what about diet as well? I mean, because you did show us before, you showed us your kitchen. I'm guessing they bring food down to you in some sort of little capsule, but are you following any particular diet or are you just eating whatever you want?
Yeah, I eat basically the same as I do on the surface. I'm very I'm an austere eater, and I can eat the same thing over and over and over. I was in the military for almost 28 years, right? So I can eat 3 eggs for breakfast in the morning, every morning, no problem. And that's basically what I do. And then I continue on to lunch. I have a handful of nuts and a bunch of cheese. And then dinner is just some protein and some fresh greens. Maybe I throw fresh fruit in there. That's it. I'm pretty easy
Very,
to
very
please when
protein.
it comes to
You're
food.
very, very protein rich and skimping back on the carbs. And we know that protein rich diets help build muscle and what have you. Now,
Yeah.
for people who get claustrophobia, what you're describing is an absolute hellhole. But and we touched on psychiatrists and psychologists. I mean, are you doing experiments all through the day so it keeps you occupied, or do you go a little bit stir crazy? Because I didn't see a TV down there.
Oh,
I mean, do you have a TV down there? He's laughing because he's watching Days of Our Lives or something like that. He's
no,
watching Fox
no
News.
way. So as a matter of fact, when I first moved in here, I told the mission director, I said, take the TV out of my bedroom. He said, why? I said, because number one, I'm never going to turn it on. Number two, I'd rather have the extra space for my scientific equipment. I
Right.
get up at about 4:30 every morning. I work out. I do 100 push-ups a day because I can.
Yeah,
I'm in
yeah,
this
yeah.
environment, not space. So I do because I'm here for 100 days. So let's do
Yeah.
100 push-ups a day, right? So I'll do my workouts. I'll stretch, because that's really important as it's a low ceiling overhead.
Oh,
I do a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
stooping and bending,
yeah,
so my back
yeah,
is kind of bothering me. So I need to keep that stretch up. And then,
yeah.
I shower, I start my science. After I eat, I start my science. I am doing science and outreach, things like this, from maybe 5 o'clock in the morning to I finished last night an early night at 6:30, usually at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. By
Right.
the time that rolls around, I'm exhausted. I grab a good book and I say, I'm out. Good night.
So that's it. So you're as yet you're not going stir crazy. Well, I tell you what I'd love to do, Joseph, is talk to you further on into this to see if things change. Yeah, because that would be
Yeah.
part of our experiment. If things change, how things have changed,
Yep.
physically, mentally, all of those things. It would be really interesting to actually see your experiment in lifetime. Because when I read about this, I said we have to speak to him, get hold of him, and I tracked you down. No, I like that. I like talking to people who are doing different things, who are thinking outside the sphere.
Yeah.
Um,
Outside.
so you've got a lovely little life down there, away from Governor DeSantis. Oops, mustn't get political. He's pointing to his nose there. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for talking to us. We are definitely going to check in on you. And
Please
really, I'd
do.
be really interested in seeing what you're learning and what the experiments are showing. and how you're feeling and what have you. But thank you so much for talking to us. I've been so excited about this. I promise not to sing Under the Sea to anybody. But
Oh
Dr.
my,
Joseph, I know. I bet you're sick of it. Under the Sea. Dr.
it's
Joseph
perfect.
Daturi.
Somebody send me a mermaid. It'll be great.
Yeah, me as a mermaid, I look more like a flipping sea monster, I think. Thank you so much for talking to us, Dr. Joseph Daturi there. And as I said before, we will be talking to Joseph again further on down the line to see how he's going. Coming up, we've got a lot more what your Mother's Day flowers may mean to your mum. You better make sure you get the right ones. Also, we will be talking about what the budget has done to your drink down your local pub. Is it going to become more expensive? Is it going to become cheaper? And can your pub actually afford to stay open? All of that and a lot more right after this. Stay with us here on Talk TV.